Hello, I'm back from holidays, so I thought that I should record something, and this something relates to a promise which I made in one of my first videos. And this promise was to share with you how to become an evaluator, because this was quite frequent question I used to get when I had a real life workshops. So I thought probably you might be interested in this as well. I was evaluator myself a couple of times. I worked for the European Commission. I worked for, I don't know how many, probably three Czech national authorities. The reason why I don't remember is that I think it was 10 years ago when I did it. And after I had my experience, it lasted for about 3 years when I worked as a consultant. But I just found out that it was, well, okay, what to say? I didn't enjoy the work. It was just kind of boring work, and I didn't want to decide faith of anyone. So, okay, I tried, I learned how it works, but then I just went on with my own projects and with my own activities. I just didn't want to be part of it. But anyway, there are people who really enjoyed it, who really liked being evaluators. So I think from the experience I had, I always preferred the thing or the way the evaluation is being organized at European level, because it was organized in person. We had to come to agreement when we were in discussion with other people. I will share with you the steps, how the evaluation as such looks like. So generally, I just had the feeling that the evaluator was with the project from the beginning till the end, till the selection. So I felt that it was kind of the most fair process which I encountered during my evaluation experience. But again, it's up to you to create your own opinion on the whole system. Of course, it's not perfect because, well, whenever you have some kind of evaluation criteria, they will be based upon individual judgments. So, well, our own individual minds are always kind of, formed by the environment we live in. So sometimes, and that was lovely actually on the real life experience when I could meet other people who worked as evaluators as well. So the nice thing was that you could see how different things played a different role in evaluations, how some people consider different aspects of project proposals to be more or less important. So it was really, because all the time, whatever I did in the system was to learn something, not only about the procedure as such, but also to see how people behave in the system. So I always observe the others just to learn for myself and for my clients some kind of lessons based on which we could improve our project. So without too long introduction and even more mistakes, let's share the presentation I made for you, and just give you a few ideas on how to become an evaluator and what can you do. So there we go. Here's again my happy creature, because it's a wonderful experience to become an evaluator if you enjoy it, as I said. By the way, whenever you become an evaluator, it is paid, so they will pay you money. But again, to me, I'm not a type of person for this kind of job. So, okay, money was not bad, but no, there are simpler things you don't want to do for money. But that's just my approach. Anyway, so at the moment, the step number one you should do if you want to become a paid evaluator, professional evaluator, is to register on the European web pages. As you see, again, we always start at a European Commission official web page, and they have a section that is dedicated to funding and tender opportunities. And there is a part, you see it here is yellow, where you can get all information where it comes to becoming an expert for the European Commission. So you see, they even have a video where they will give you even more advice than I give. But what to do next? So if you work as an expert, number one, you need to register yourself. So they give you kind of manual what you have to do and what kind of expertise they are interested in. So anything you would be interested in is in these online manuals, which is wonderful. That is something that wasn't available when I started. So as I said, I can see evolution of this space during the last 20 years. And at the moment, you have really a lot of information available, which is, again, a challenge, because if there is too much online, it's difficult to find relevant things. So generally, I would say you even don't need any kind of manuals. Simply open this section, register as an expert. You see here in the left corner, I'm going to move the my picture. So if you register here, it's just, very plain procedure. So really no need for special online manuals. Even you can see that they have a specific document that will summarize what they expect from experts, people working with European Commission. They offer more opportunities than just becoming an evaluator for them. So once you register as an expert, there are loads of calls for experts whenever they need some expertise, even in different research areas. So once you register into this database, it doesn't mean that you will have to become only an evaluator. They really have a lot of options for people who are interested in helping them informing politics, evaluating documents, results, and so on. So, I really think that you can't go wrong with this registration. Actually, this is one of the advice that I got at the beginning of my career. And I just always wanted to try everything, just to know what is out there and if it can or can't be helpful. So I registered into this database. And what happened a couple of years later, I was asked to become an evaluator. So I did actually nothing for the fact that I became an evaluator, apart from the fact that I registered into this database. Well, and that was all. So I thought, well, wonderful. Some opportunity, and I didn't have to write any project proposal for that, just fill in the details about yourself. So this is actually how your profile will look like. So as you see, I put some kind of blue areas because they are my personal details there. So I hope that I covered everything that is really personal. Well, normally it works really well. Well, at the moment, I'm a little bit confused with them because I updated something in my own profile. And as you see, update is ongoing with this information. And I made the update about 3 years ago. I don't know what happens. I think I wrote them, but no one replied. So, even in this system can be hiccups. But if you register as a new expert, I think you shouldn't have any problem. By the way, I don't know if you can use your personal email, but I would be careful when it comes to registering with your professional emails, because whenever you need a recovery of your password, it would be sent to your professional email. And it might happen that you change your job. And at this moment, again, to get someone from the commission to change your contact email, that might be a little bit challenging. So for this reason, these days, I would just register with my personal email, because it's, number one, it's more accessible. And number two, with high probability, you are not going to change this one. You can always change the job. You can always change the company, the university, the research institute you work for, but you usually keep your personal email. So what you have to fill in is just, a typical selection of personal data. Here you see it's about your CV. So you will just give them information on languages you can speak, the area of expertise, what kind of education you have, employment experiences, your publications, and then you also select, as you see here, who can see your profile. It means it is related to the options you have when it comes to collaboration. This is simply the moment when you tell us, okay, I'm willing to collaborate with these type of institutions, and therefore they are allowed to see my personal data. So here is a bit, again, just a visual summary of what they expect from you to provide them with, so that they can decide whether you are the person with relevant expertise. So not much, and usually you have this kind of information somewhere anyway, because you need them for project applications most of the time. So this is just the basic information how to register, nothing big. I'm not going to do it with you step by step. As you saw, there is a video, instruction video provided by the European Commission, but just a brief summary of what evaluation looks like. Again, if you return to this online manual, they tell you how the evaluation process looks step by step. So I'm, again, not going to read it with you. If you are interested, read it yourself. But as I said, what I really appreciated was the fact that we did evaluation at that time in person. I don't know, these days it's not that common anymore, but it's so valuable because you did the evaluation at first individually. So you had a kind of idea on how you would like to judge this proposal based on the evaluation questions. This is something I'm going to talk about just a moment later. And after you did your individual evaluations, you just met with the group of other people who evaluated the same proposals. And you kind of compared your evaluations and you had to discuss what you liked and what you disliked, and you had to come to the conclusion, which I could see was wonderful, because sometimes people are simply convinced that the project is good or bad, and then they fight for their opinion, which is kind of wonderful. It's not based on just machines and some kind of algorithms. So it's in a way, in this imperfect way of evaluating what is the best approach that I have experienced so far, because these people were really present from the very beginning till the end when the projects were finally selected based on the scores they received during the evaluation. So this was just a basic summary of how the evaluation may look like. It differs from different calls and from different sections of Horizon Europe, and this is what I'm now going to show you, but they are always going to tell you how your project is going to be evaluated and what kind of questions evaluators are being asked when it comes to providing Commission with evaluation scores. So there is always a kind of structured we could call it questionnaire for evaluators, based on which they judge what is written in your project proposal. They, of course, have to be impartial. They mustn't have any connection with people or organizations who submitted the proposal. And, well, then they just provide Commission with their opinion. And again, this is a kind of way how to eliminate biases, that more people evaluate the same projects. Well, when I did the evaluation, it was 5 people evaluated. I think it was 5 people. Five, I think so. I can't remember anymore. Sometimes it was 3, sometimes 5, but I think we were in the group 5 of us. Well, not that important. But really what I liked was really the fact that it just felt to be kind of fair, that someone, spent a lot of time in writing this project. So then it's really good that you can provide these people with procedure that is as fair as possible. So my personal experience is that I really, if I can use the word I enjoyed the evaluation process at the European level much more than at the national level. At the national level, it was usually just, doing it on your own, evaluating, again, based on some kind of evaluation criteria, but you usually had no option for some kind of discussions with others, what they liked or what they didn't like about the project. And sometimes the procedure was like, you provided someone else with your opinions, and then another group of people made decision based on your evaluation. So you just didn't see what was happening after you submitted your own evaluation. So I think this is all from the presentation. And now it's the moment to go further and to show you where the Commission is going to inform you about how your project is going to be evaluated. This is valuable information, and never ever, just like last time I said, whenever is information available about money, read it because it's important. So this is another crucial information. Whenever there is a guide on evaluation available, read this one, because these are criteria, the first criteria your project needs to meet in order to be successful. And in these criteria, you will kind of see the lens through which evaluators are going to look at your project proposal. So you need to understand this lens as much as possible. You will see, well, the definition of this lens is quite vague as well. But, you know, being vague sometimes gives you lots of opportunities to provide them with your own definitions of how it might be seen, this particular criteria. I will talk about it just a moment later. So, but why I share this page in the presentation is because once you register as an expert, you can use this registration for whatever happens with your project in future. So even if I submit my project, I will need this registration. So they have a kind of like one-stop shop, or one shop stop. I can't remember now. One-stop shop. Yeah, that's the proper one. Anyway, so once you register as an expert, you can use this registration also when you write project, when you participate in projects. So it's really useful to do it. You really won't regret it. And even if you won't become an evaluator, you just can use this profile as a partner in a project or as a participant in a project. So I think that's all in the presentation. Yeah, so I'm going to stop sharing. And I am going to open my web page, which is where? That's the question, the big question. Well, of course, I don't have it open. I have Zoom here, so let's start here. So, well, as you see, now I opened just a real web page of the European Commission. I didn't want to be registered because you could see in the previous slide that, you know, it was a little bit more chaos and more information. So now I want to focus only on the calls for proposals and the information where I'm going to be informed about the evaluation procedure and about the evaluation guidelines. So as you see, I am on the web page called Funding and Tender Opportunities. If you saw some of my first emails and my first videos, I was already talking about this web page and sharing with you how to navigate yourself in some kind of fast way so that you don't get lost. So at the moment, I chose just the calls that are going to be either forthcoming or open for the submission so that I could show you the documents, the relevant documents. And because I'm always interested in fellowships, in Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions, so I chose for this example postdoctoral fellowship call, which is going to be open in a couple of days. Actually, it's less than a month and it will be open. So probably I'm going to make more videos on this postdoctoral fellowships. I will see if I feel like it. Anyway, so as you see here, I selected open for submission or forthcoming, and I have the Marie Sklodowska-Curie postdoctoral fellowship because I also picked the program part called Marie Sklodowska-Curie Actions, and I selected the destination called Marie Sklodowska-Curie postdoctoral fellowships. If I didn't choose anything, I would get like just larger offer of funding and tenders that are going to be open. Well, you can always try to search for yourself based on your own interest. So once we open this forthcoming call, so you see that you will get all the general information. It is going to be single stage, meaning what you submit to the Commission is going to be evaluated, and based on this project proposal, you are already going to be either financed or not. So no just second part of the submission procedure. The next important thing is the opening date. Planned opening date is going to be 12th of April. And based on my experience, they usually keep these deadlines as they planned it. The only exception was a year ago, but you know, with COVID, not all the things were going that smoothly, so there were some delays. But as I shared with you, I remember this program since the end of the 5th framework program. Now this is 9th framework program, sounds horrible, even though it's called Horizon Europe, but well, behind it's the idea that it is 9th European framework program for research and innovation and so on. And the last important thing here is that the deadline is going to be 13th of September. Please, please, please be careful. Don't leave writing your projects like 2 weeks before the deadline. You can actually write as such, but only in case you already had a lot of information and you thought over the strategy, you discussed what you are going to do. So you already have all the information ready in your head. And in that case, you would be able to write your project just 2 weeks before the deadline. But if you still think about what you are going to do, how you are going to do it, you have no chance in those 2 weeks to write something good, unless everything is really well thought over before. But anyway, I wanted to tell you where to find this important information related to the evaluation. So just scroll down. This beginning is important for the content of your project. But when it comes to the evaluation, we need to go a little bit lower to the section called documents, where it is, probably here, show more general conditions. And that, yeah, in the general conditions, you can find it. So you see, even me, after so many years, I still have to just look around and see where it is. But what we seek for are the core documents. That's the most specific. So as you see, here are loads and loads of other documents. You can always go to them later when you ask yourself questions to which you won't find answers in the core documents. But otherwise, core documents are crucial because they are specific and they are related to the particular call. So as you see here, we have standard application form. At the moment, we are not interested in this one, but what we are interested in is the standard evaluation form. So if you look at it, you open it, and it's not a long document, fortunately. It has just 5 pages, 5 or 6, something like that. And they tell you what kind of scores you might be given. Then, of course, in postdoctoral fellowships, there are some scales, but I'm not going to bother you with scales and so on. What is important are the evaluation questions. So what the evaluators are being asked when it comes to judging content of your project proposal. So you see, here are already, this is the 4th page of the document, the specific questions evaluators will judge your project upon. So I would like to enlarge this one, but okay, I'm not going to play with it. But anyway, so if you open this document, so you see that they are going to judge your project based on the excellence questions, then impact and implementation. Generally, when it comes to Marie Skłodowska-Curie actions, the most important criteria are excellence, then impact, and the actual implementation is, well, like the least on the scales. But be careful, you won't be able to create excellent impact or write an excellent excellence when it's not connected by the implementation. So I think in the video on project management, there was a video on excellence, implementation, and impact. There I was talking about it. So there is connection between these 3 categories. So you can't write them separately. It's just, you know, one coherent story in your project. And this is what makes your text in the project to be either convincing or not for the evaluator. So I will talk about how to write convincing text in some of the next videos. Well, but anyway, so I'm going to stop now because I really don't want to keep these videos long. I made lots of mistakes. I know, sorry. That's, you know, returning after holidays when you were not thinking about projects or research and you were just talking about, well, ordinary life. So I would like to end up now with sharing again the title of this document, because these evaluation forms are crucial whenever you start to write. So in a way, what is important is to print this document, to print, of course, the standard application form, because reading these texts together with this specific information related to the call, topic description, and destination will give you kind of ingredients that will help you to give meaning to questions that you need to address in your project proposal. So I think I'm going to look more in depth on the questions that are in your project template and that you should address with your project story. So every project proposal really is a kind of story. And the biggest trouble we face that sometimes we just see it as a technical text. Well, it might look so, but people are going to read it and are going to interpret it. And they are going to judge it based on quality criteria. So they are quite frequently in the document I just shared with you a few moments ago, they are going to be asked about quality and credibility most of the times. And how can you measure quality and credibility? This is really difficult. So this is really about content and the logic of your project and the arguments you put together so that you really create convincing story. And this is, again, I like to compare it to movies. What makes movie credible? Sometimes you sit in front of the screen and you are just so absorbed. And, even though, the movie is at the moment a fiction, but you are absorbed in it and you believe the story, even though it's a fiction. So this feeling to believe that a story is something we need to create in our reviewers, in our evaluators, although of course our project is not going to be fiction. Our project is going to be implemented in future. But at the moment when you write it, it's just a kind of prediction. It is qualified guess related to what you want to do based on the recent situation and the kind of outlook you have about the change, what you think you would like to achieve as an impact by your project. And this all, in a way, when you write it, it is just a story until you start to implement it. So you really need to treat this text as your way to, well, let's say, preach about the change you want to achieve with your research. So, well, I'm going to stop sharing it. Anyway, made lots of mistakes. I'm not going to re-record or anything because otherwise, it's just, it's not easy if you are not a native speaker. So I'm aware of loads of mistakes. I know that, well, I'm not perfect in my expressions, but this is not about perfection. This is just about just providing you with tool. And the more I'm thinking about where I am going towards with this channel, I think I'm already getting quite nice ideas what I would like to do with it and with whom. I definitely will stop with recording my own videos after a while because I just do them to summarize what I have learned over the course of 20 years. I want kind of to get it out of my head, share with people as an experience, and go further. And this going further is going to be new, interesting adventure, which I think might enrich you quite a lot. So it's my kind of new phase of how to help people, which I thought would never think of. Wasn't it for the need of going online? But yeah, it's here, it's the option, so let's do it. Anyway, thank you very much for your kind attention. Hope you have a good springtime. I don't know where are you going to watch this video from, but we are already getting, well, there's a window there, by the way. So we are already getting, well, something like spring in the place where I live. We are usually much later than the rest of the Czech Republic. It used to be always fun. When I came from Liberec to Prague, I came with my winter coat and winter boots in April, and in Prague, people were wearing t-shirts. So it's just 100 kilometers. Anyway, Thank you very much for attention, and see you the next time with the topics we are working on at the moment. So, bye.